Hello and welcome to the windmill, my friends, and welcome to another episode of Cartridge Appreciation. Now, much like last episode, I have went back to one of my previous uniquely generic videos, the first N64 episode, and I'm going to be appreciating the cartridges from that video. And I've shuffled the order around so it doesn't feel like it's just a copy. But with that out of the way, let's just get right into it, shall we? Alright, game number one for this episode is Star Fox 64. I've already talked about the title, but today I want to talk about the art that's depicted on this label here. Now, for one thing, I really like how this label looks. The R-wing in the foreground is blurry, so it seems like the camera has focused on the robot. That robot has a lot of intricate detail on it that you really can't see in the game. And this is just another reason I'd like to see Star Fox 64 remade so that it actually looks like this. But, you know, it's probably never going to happen, but I would enjoy it. The robot kind of gives me like Samus vibes. It kind of reminds me of Samus. I don't really like how they place the N64 logo and the ESRB rating just right in front of the R-wing, so you can't fucking really appreciate that aspect of it. Everything else is pretty good though. It's just, when you look at this, like, first glance, you wouldn't really guess that it was a space shooter. It looks like something about robots. But there's at least plenty going on, and you can see an R-wing on there. I want to say this one's pretty good, but they should have put the logos on the other side and covered up part of the robot's arm instead of the R-wing. But anyway, I'll give that one a solid pass, and then we're going to move on to game number two. Game number two for the day is Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. Now, to be honest, I don't fully understand what's going on with this art, but it's good. You know it's a Bomberman game. You can see Bomberman on it. You can see his little sidekick from the game, whose name is Pommy. And then there's some kind of ring in the background, or some kind of tube in the background that seems to be exploding, which, I mean, makes sense. He is Bomberman, so he probably just blew that shit up. In the background, we got like a starry blue-black space sky. Weird way to say that, but I'm going to leave it in anyway because fuck it. The one thing I wanted to mention about Pommy is how very similar he looks to Kirby. Do I have any complaints about this cartridge? Not really. I actually like this one more than the Star Fox label. And that's because none of the logos intrude on the artwork. You know what I mean? You can see most of the important stuff. We're going to give this one a pass. Good artwork. So we're going to move on. Now, game number three, we have Nukem 64. Now, this artwork I really liked, but it looked familiar to me, and it didn't take me long to figure out why. For one thing, it seems to be almost a parody of the Doom box art, or, you know, title art, which itself is a sort of mimic of Army of Darkness's box art. Now, the label art here is maybe a little too zoomed in, like they could have zoomed out a little bit more to show a little bit more of the artwork going on there, but for what it is, it's good. I'm going to give this one a pass. It's much better than my opinion on the title. Anyway, next game. And for cartridge number 4, we have Waverings. I'm gonna come right out and be honest with you. At first glance, this label art doesn't look half bad, but when you look at it a little bit closer, it kind of starts to fall apart. I don't know what it is exactly, but if I was going to try to explain it, I think it has something to do with the weird, old school silicon graphics that they used for it. I don't know, it doesn't look all that great. The background looks cool, with the clouds and the sky, and like you can see a little bit of the water at the bottom, but I don't know. I don't find this one extremely appealing, so I'm gonna give this one a rough, but okay. Either way, I think it's time for us to move on to the final game of this episode. Now, I most definitely did not pick the best for last. As a matter of fact, I picked the worst for last. For the most part, we have WWF WrestleMania 2000. Now, this cartridge doesn't look bad, but the label art is a little bit boring. All it says is WrestleMania 2000. The only notable thing really is that the letters 2000 give me like a Godzilla 2000 vibe, which is not a good thing, but it looks good on the black. My only issue is that there's nothing on it. There's no wrestlers, there's no ring, there's nothing. I do like the cartridge though, because black N64 cartridges are kind of rare. But all in all, this one needs a little bit more artwork on it, but it gets the job done. So it's not horrible, but it's definitely not good. And that's the last game for today. Now we move on to the rankings. Number 1, Duke Nukem 64. Number 2 is Bomberman 64, The Second Attack. Number 3, Star Fox 64. Number 4 is Wave Race 64. And last, and definitely least today, is WrestleMania 2000. Now with that, I want to thank everybody so much for watching another Cartridge Appreciation. As always, take it easy, and I will see you next time.